The Fiver is a daily, mostly humorous, seriously, Fiver Ed. football email published by The Guardian newspaper's website, theguardian.com. It is delivered to subscribers' inboxes at approximately 17:00 Monday to Friday, hence the name Fiver, but does not appear in the print edition of The Guardian newspaper, even though it is published by a UK-based newspaper. The Fiver enjoys a worldwide following. Fiver writers include Paul Doyle and Barry Glendenning and are drawn from The Guardian sports writing staff. Content. Usually the Fiver is composed of main story, composed of a commentary on selected events, although this used to be 3, usually highlighting the negative side of the modern game, unsportsmanlike behavior, the failure or embarrassment of a team or player. These events are usually presented in a humorous, ironic, cynical and wearily disdainful manner. Occasionally subjects of sufficient importance are dealt with in a completely serious manner. For example, the death of a great player or major incidents of crowd racism. Quote of the day features a contemporary quote made by a famous or infamous footballing figure, again selected for its comedy value. Fiver letters, comments, general observations, criticisms and pedantry. Formerly, a prize was awarded to the letter judged best of the day. Bits and bobs, an amalgamation of the old news in brief and rumor mill sections. See below. Still want more? Links to other football and sports stories, especially The Spin, from The Guardian. Last line, a brief, sign-off line, typically an esoteric cultural reference. Topical comment, song lyric or writers in joke. Discontinued sections, TV and radio. Summary of the evening's football-related programming, accompanied by anecdotal submissions from readers on various and frequently changing themes. This section has yet to return after the 2006 Christmas break, probably because the Fiver writers can't be bothered looking up what's on TV and radio. Still want more? A new but short-lived musical interlude section in January 2008 which consisted of 1 or 2 old music video clips on YouTube. It was started because of surprising and rather disturbing popularity of the last line from the 10th of January 2008. The new section was originally named Musical Interlude the Next Day and became more. How do you like it? How do you like it? On the 12th of January 2008. Then, it was renamed to Very Moreish from 13 to 17 January 2008 and Please, Sir, Can I Have Some MOR from 18 to 22 January 2008. From the 23rd of January 2008. The section was known as Still Want MOR. The section was then ended on the 31st of January. News in brief. Summary of the day's stories about player injuries, disciplinary hearings, completed transfers, international matches, now replaced by bits and bobs, rumor mill, managerial and transfer-related gossip and speculation culled from other newspapers and websites, now replaced by bits and bobs, humor, again. Much of the humor in the Fiver derives from the tongue-in-cheek use of national and regional stereotypes. For example, frequent references are made to the Fiver's English, Scottish, Welsh and Irish cousins as sexually repressed Morris Dancing Fiver, Shortbread McFiver, Clanfairpool Gunjil Gogerich Windrow Bull and Tacilio Go Go Goach Fiver, and Theme Pubbo Fiver, respectively. Family members are often invented as and when required to portray the press of a given country. In addition, the most successful teams of the time are usually on the receiving end of many jokes. The Fiver employs the kinds of jokes and insults used by football fans themselves, combining this with sharp observation, which no doubt contributes towards its popularity amongst its readers. although that could also be why it is often accused of bias by the fans of the team which happens to be on the receiving end. The Fiver is full of irony, even the name of the publication is somewhat humorous as it often arrives well after 5 o'clock. Recurring sources of humor include team nicknames. Manchester United are known by a variety of names, including the Mew Rowdies, after the NASL's Tampa Bay Rowdies, and play at the Trafford Devil Bowl, since their acquisition by the American Glazer family. Birmingham City were referred to as Bongo FC in reference to the involvement of their former chairman David Gold and David Sullivan in the pornography industry. Bongo is slang for porn. As they have now taken over at West Ham United, the Bongo name for Birmingham has become redundant. Blackburn Rovers are known as Black Eye Rovers in reference to the team's historically somewhat aggressive tactics. Leeds United are referred to as Dirty Leeds because of their historically uncompromising football style. More recently, Nasty Leeds, following the then-manager Dennis Wise's statement that he wanted the team to be nasty in order to avoid relegation. Wigan Athletic are known as Plucky Little Wigan or PLW, in reference to the media's patronising attitude to this overachieving little club. This echoes the similarly patronising epithet, Plucky Little Belgium, used by British newspapers in 1914 to describe their resistance to the German invasion. Liverpool are known as Gisagong FC, give us a gong, in a Scouse accent, as a result of their chief executive's disappointment upon discovering his Champions League-winning players had been overlooked in the 2006 New Year's Honours list. An alternative name is Merseyside Redskins, since their acquisition by US owners. Sunderland have been referred to as Sundireland since the club's takeover by former Republic of Ireland international Niall Quinn and principally while fellow Irishman Roy Keane was manager. Manchester City were known as Human Rights FC after being taken over by former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, usually known as Trashcan Sinatra in the Fiver. With the 2008 takeover by the Abu Dhabi Investment Group, they have been referred to as Human Rights FC 2.0, and also as Oil Rich She. Newcastle United were known for a while as Newcastle United Comedy Club, NUCC, or Junglers FC after a chain of British comedy clubs. Following a series of bizarre incidents like manager Graham Souness' public falling out with striker Craig Bellamy, and an on-field punch-up between teammates Kieran Dyer and Lee Bowyer. More recently, the club has been referred to as the Barcodes, or Satan's Barcodes, due to their black and white striped shirts, and as Newcastle FC while under the management of Joe Kinnear due to Kinnear's regular use of profanities. They featured less often during the 2009-10 season, which they spent in the Championship. West Ham were known as Bad Boys Inc. when they were signed the controversial Craig Bellamy and Kieran Dyer to a squad that already included notorious troublemakers such as Lee Bowyer and Anton Ferdinand. As of former Birmingham owners Gold and Sullivans, themselves known by the joint moniker Gollivan, takeover of the club, they are now known as Wrist Ham, another reference to the owner's involvement in the pornographic industry. Aston Villa have been referred to as Buffaloville since the club's acquisition by Cleveland Browns owner Randy Lerner. Derby County are nicknamed Ramsbottom County mainly because of their poor performance, especially in the 2007-08 Premier League season. The team's official nickname is the Rams. Scunthorpe United are known as Firewall FC because of the difficulty in getting emails containing the name of the club through some forms of spam blocking software. See Scunthorpe problem. QPR are known as RMP, a rich men's plaything after their takeover by billionaire owners Flavio Briatore and Bernie Ecclestone. Stoke City were known as Rory Delap FC for the number of goals they score from their Republic of Ireland international midfielders. Long throw-ins. The Glasgow teams Celtic, with a traditionally Catholic fan base, and Rangers, with traditionally Protestant fan base, are referred to as the Queen's Celtic and the Pope's Rangers, when in fact the opposite would be appropriate. Since Rangers' bankruptcy and transfer of assets to a newco, they have since been renamed the Pope's NEWCO Rangers. The Netherlands international football team is referred to as VROTN, or the Federal Republic of Holland, the Netherlands and the Dutch, as a nod to its often confusing nomenclature with football pundits. Taxpayers FC is the new name for West Ham United after their move into the taxpayer-funded City of London Olympic Stadium, built for the London Olympics. Manager nicknames. Many football managers are also given nicknames, and once the nickname has stuck, their real names are rarely used. Former Birmingham and Wigan, now Sunderland, boss Steve Bruce becomes Bernard Cribbins, who he supposedly resembles. Former Spurs head coach Martin Jol as Tony Soprano for the same reason. Likewise, Aston Villa's Martin O'Neill is known as Woody Allen. Former Derby manager Billy Davies has been referred to as Begbie, and former Manchester City manager Mark Hughes has recently become known as Ailsa from Home and Away, for his supposed resemblance to the Australian soap character. Kevin Keegan became Kelvin Coogan. After a poll of readers' nicknames, Harry Redknapp is referred to as ARY Redknapp, due to his strong East London accent. Arsenal's Arsene Wenger is called Darsen's Arsenal Wenger. Sir Alex Ferguson has been called at times the Imperial Lord Ferg, usually simply shortened to Lord Ferg, and Voldemort at others, amongst others. So Bobby Robson was known, by dint of his old age and frequent mistakes with players' names, as R.I.R. Sobby Bobson. For a short time while he assisted the Irish squad he was known as R.I.R. Sobby O'Bobson. Ex-England manager Steve McClaren is referred to as second-choice Steve owing to the FA's pursuit of other candidates prior to appointing McClaren to the England post. The moniker Second Chance Steve was coined after England's then minimal Euro 2008 qualifying chances were revived by a surprise Israeli victory against Russia. On taking the job of manager at FC Twente, McClaren was renamed 20th Choice Steve. He was subsequently called Second Choice Steve, mocking McClaren's affectation of a Dutch-sounding accent in an infamous interview on Dutch television. After his move to VfL Wolfsburg he was referred to as Second Deutsche Steve until being sacked by the club. Current England football team manager Roy Hodgson is referred to as Mr. Roy. Former Republic of Ireland manager Giovanni Trapattoni is known as Giovanni O Trapattoni, in light of the fact that he was an Italian in charge of the Irish national side. Blackburn Rovers beleaguered manager Steve Kean is known as Steve Kean out due to the frequency of banners and chanting from Blackburn's unhappy home fans in the 2011-2012 season. Nicknames for footballers. Emile Heskey is called the Amazing Mr. M, or just Mr. M, after a period where he was regularly picked for club and country despite fan criticism of his form. Just as in the TV show, Mr. Ed was a horse who only his owner could hear speak. Heskey was said to be a cart horse who only his managers could see play good football. Steven Gerrard, popularly known as Stevie G, was referred to as $TV after lucrative contract negotiations, which was modified to $TV MBE when he was awarded the MBE. When Gerrard was charged with assault in 2009, this was temporarily changed to $TV GBH, but reverted after he was acquitted. Alan Smith is referred to as the Emmerdale Eminem, for his Yorkshire origins and his supposed resemblance to the rapper. The diminutive Shaun Wright-Phillips is known as Subbuteos Shaun Wright-Phillips. Michael Owen is known as Lil Mickey Owen. John Terry is known as England's Brave John Terry, or EBJT, as he has a knack for pulling out of England matches due to some mysterious injury only to play for Chelsea the week after. It is now changed to Chelsea's Brave John Terry, or CBJT, or when he's playing for England since being stripped of the captaincy. England's brave but embarrassing John Terry, or EBBEJT. Following his unsuccessful rebellion against Fabio Capello, EBJT was briefly redubbed England's brave and loyal John Terry, EBLJT. Since his retirement from international football in 2012, he has been referred to as plain old JT. Hulking German goalkeeper Oliver Kahn is known as Mary Shelley's Oliver Kahn. Arsenal's Theo Walcott was known as Fetus Walcott, after his surprise inclusion in the doomed England squad for the 2006 World Cup at the age of 17. Djibril Cisse Acute is known as Jinkan, Djibril Cisse, or more commonly, the Lord of the Manor of Frodsham, in recognition of the title he obtained when he purchased the large manor house of the same name. Cristiano Ronaldo is known as him, always with capital H, perhaps because of the godlike status he was propelled to in season 2007-08, but mainly, one suspects, because the writers got fed up of writing about his move to their Real Madrid, which was written about seemingly every day of the 2008 close season. Javier Hernandez is known as Petit Pois, the French translation of his Mexican nickname Chicharito, meaning Little P in English. Leagues and tournaments. Some tournaments are also referred to by nicknames, with the Champions League being referred to as Big Cup, and its lesser relation the UEFA Cup being known as Euro Vase. The Scottish Premier League is usually referred to as the Euro Disney League or Euro Disney League, the implication being that it is a Mickey Mouse league. The FIFA World Cup has been referred to as Biggest Cup, and more frequently the FIFA World Cup, but with a string of sponsors' names, such as Nestlé, Fuji, Texaco, Pepsi Max, Cyril the Handyman. 2010 FIFA World Cup South Africa. Trademark. The misfortunes of the home nation's international teams. For example, Northern Ireland's national team were referred to as Norn Iron Nil due to their proclivity for losing, failure to score. However, after their shock 1-0 victory over England in September 2005, became known as Norn Iron 1-0, after a poor England performance. Former manager Sven-Göran Eriksson's £4 million salary was usually mentioned, as was former manager Fabio Capello's £6 million salary. Fiverr lawyers. Segments of text are supposedly excised by Fiverr lawyers, the implication being to avoid libel suits, though the gist of the missing information is usually obvious, or already known, to the reader. Fat cats. Any news involving FIFA or its president Sepp Blatter implies that whatever has been announced, the matter was being discussed simply as an excuse for a gluttonous lunch, with details of the menu usually added for illustrative purposes. This also applied to UEFA and its former president Lennart Johansson until Johansson was succeeded by the more respected former player Michel Platini. Muesli munches, referring to Guardian, and hence its own readers by the sandal-wearing muesli eaters stereotype attitude towards football clubs. While no football club is beneath the Fiverr's contempt, it does tend to go easier on struggling, poverty-stricken lower league clubs, showing the writers do have a conscience. However, fans of Liverpool Football Club get a particularly hard time due to their reputation for incessant whining about perceived injustices brought upon them by a conspiratorial London-based media. which in itself is evidence of the injustices brought upon Liverpool by a conspiratorial etc. and so on. Self-deprecating humor. As of 2007, this has taken on a darker strain, with more frequent references to the Fiver waking up with a hangover, in a gutter or in a puddle of the Fiver's own urine. This is largely a continuation of an occasional "this is how we work" item, replacing a news story with a tale of the Fiver writer struggling and failing to write a meaningful article as the clock ticks towards 5 p.m., usually culminating in the humiliation of the writer and hot tears of shame at the hands of the Fiver editor. The main Guardian paper, and articles therein, are enviously referred to as Big Paper. The Guardian's respected and award-winning investigative reporter David Conn is referred to as proper journalism's David Conn. The Fiver has a cousin, The Spin, which is all of the above, although with a more measured and less overtly humorous outlook on the subject of cricket. Written by Andy Bull. References. External links. The Fiver http://www.guardian.co.uk